Yeah, let's no more whisper now.
Yeah, Ron's gonna be. It'll drive him nuts in the broadcast. Oh, good idea. I can't do that because then I got to leave the track to go back.
User joined your channel.
All right, so how does this work? Got a copy, RK? Things will drive itself. You just let me know.
Alrighty. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Loose Lug Nuts Sunday Night Pad Series. We're here at Talledega Speedway, and joining me in the booth this evening is going to be Bob Wells, driver of the number 38 usually. I'd like to welcome Bob to the booth. Unfortunately, Bob may have stepped away. We are having some technical difficulties with iRacing this evening. We cannot. We're really trying to get all the drivers in to the room, but for some reason the website is very slow and drivers are having a very difficult time getting in. So we are hoping that they can hurry and get into the room before qualifying is over, which we are in qualifying right now. We have about 2 to 2.5 minutes remaining. So once again, we are here at Talledega Super Speedway for the PADD Sunday Speedway Series, brought to you by Loose Lug Nuts, Over the Top Paints and Designs, and the Wise Guys.
And Ron, the truckers are out there right now qualifying. What is the key to getting a good qualifying lap around Talladega? Because I got to be honest with you, I go out there and I pin it around the bottom and keep my foot in it and keep those pretty hands on the wheel and try to be as smooth as possible. And I always seem to stink at qualifying. Do you have anything that these drivers might be doing tonight on the great 2.66 mile tri-oval at Talladega?
I would say, you know, that for the most part, they're just trying to keep them wound up as tight as they can, and on that final lap, keep her pinned down to the bottom around the corners and try to get the best time that they can. I was speaking to the fact that unfortunately we are having some major difficulties in iRacing, and some drivers are definitely having troubles getting into the room. Some drivers we can't even get them in on our league page. So unfortunately we are going to be short drivers this evening, which is a real shame, especially when, you know, this race is put on for the benefit of people against distracted driving, Nikki Kaleni and her family. So what a shame that this is going to happen tonight.
Yes, but among those drivers that did get into the server tonight, Ron, we have Donald Sadusky right now is actually showing as our provisional poll. Still some time left on the clock for these guys to get up there and beat them. But Donald is a great sim racer. I've had a lot of fun racing with him. Let's see if he can hang on to that good time that he's got down on the clock as these guys continue to put laps in here in qualifying.
Alrighty, that does it for qualifying. I'm gonna be setting our cameras here up to the leader, and we're gonna go through the grid. Unfortunately, it does look like our a lot of our guys are not gonna make it this evening. I saw a bunch of guys trying to enter the room at the last second, and unfortunately it looks like they are not going to be able to make it in. So right now I'm showing 16 drivers.
Yes, on tonight's poll, we have Donald Sadusky hanging on to that good time. Outside of the poll, Anthony Poston. Inside of Rule 2, Brian Tribble outside. Levi Garrett Potts starting 4th. We got Vern. Where's Vern? He is starting in 5th tonight. Travis Patel, the Canadian, starting in 6th. Taylor Potts starting 7th. James, I Feel Good Brown starting 8th. T. Rowdy, Travis Browder starting 9th. And in 10th, we have Jason Smoke Hughes. The Professor, David Washington, rolls off in 11th tonight. Dirty Dustin Lee starting in 12th. Brandon Dorsett starting in 13th. And I believe that is the whole field that's going to roll off here, as it shows me in 14th. And obviously, I'm not starting because I'm up here in the booth with you, RK.
Copy that. Unfortunately, like I said, I think we also got Stephen Linen, Craig Covington. Not sure if you mentioned them or not, but I am showing them on the driver's list. So we're gonna have, unfortunately, only 14 guys made it in here. What a shame. I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite upset about that. But let's talk about this first lap here, Bob. What do you expect with just 14 cars out there? What do you expect out of this first lap?
Well, Ron, we'd love that more, but I expect us to have a great event here tonight. We have 14 great sim races here at Talledega, and these trucks, Ron, as you know, they put a big hole in the wind. That suck-up draft will be a huge factor. There'll be a lot of side drafting going on, I'm sure. Hopefully, you guys can keep that aggression level in check, and we keep it on the green and get a lot of great racing here in tonight at Talledega. And field is midway down the backstretch behind the iRacing Ford Mustang pace car. This time by, they will be going green. We have, what do we have, 80 laps tonight here, Ron?
We do have 80 fast laps. Hopefully they'll be relatively quick anyways, right?
I hope so. Hopefully we can keep it on the green. Donald Sadusky will be showing the way down to the official iRacing starter at the start-finish line, which actually at this track, Ron, as you know, is not in the middle of the tri-oval. It's actually at that second part of the dog leg in that short straight chute, which adds a different element to this track, unlike some of the other big speedways and super speedways on the circuits.
That is correct. It's kind of unique in its own way. And as we get ready to take the green flag here, we're going to see these people standing up on their feet, getting ready to go green. We're going to go 80 laps. What do you think about that?
I think it's going to be a good show, Ron, even though we have a small field. And that iRacing Mustang has made a hard left-hand turn into pit road. The field is now under the control of Donald Sadusky, waiting for the iRacing starter to throw that green flag.
Green flag. Have a great day.
And the green flag is out. Donald Sadusky gets a bad start. Whirls back to that third place position, who gives him a good bump draft off into turn one for the first time here tonight. We got 3 trucks on the high line, grouping up together, making a good run of it. We'll see how they roll down the back stretch for the first time here tonight at Talledega.
Donald Sadusky really starting to make his way back up towards that front, though. He's getting a great push from the number 22 car. 22 car being driven by Brian Tribble. We got Anthony Poston on the outside being pushed on by the number 57 of Taylor Potts, with Trevor Bertelli behind him.
And for the first time out of turn 4, Donald Sadusky does take that lead. Brian Tribble hard on his rear bumper as they bump draft out of turn 4 into the tri-oval.
And just behind Brian Tribble thinking about making that move to slide up in front of that 003 and maybe go for the lead. I saw the 095 of Vernon Margheim, last night's winner in our practice race in the Xfinity cars. He's sitting third right now. Thought he was going to creep up to the back of the number 22. Kind of fooled me.
Yeah, Vernon did a great job.
Oh!
Big bump draft gone run. Donald Sadusky and Brian Tribble fall below the yellow line as they work their way back into the pack. Field rockets off in the turn.
Easy guys. I wish that we could actually talk to him. Easy guys. All right, they get it all straight back out.
As both of us spent a lot of time behind the wheel, we're definitely like, whoa, when we see that kind of action going on. Down in through the trioval, we will have a new leader this lap, regardless of who gets there first, and it is a drag race to the stripe.
There's your winner from last night, folks. Vernon Margheim finding his way back out in front of this racing pack, just 2 laps into this 80-lap event. Vernon Margheim, your leader, with who do we have behind him?
I'm not quite sure, but this field looks just like they did on the pace lap, Ronald. They're stacked up 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 or so. As they rocket off in the 3 and 4 on lap 3 of early stages here at Talledega.
Here we go as we get a good look here now at the number 19 truck of Donald Sadusky, seeing the Remembering Ryan on his car. Good looking paint job. Sure that was done by one of our good friends over at Over the Top Paints and Designs, I'm assuming.
That sure was, Ron. That was done by John Hendrick at Over the Top Paints and Designs. And I'll tell you, if you're an iRacer, you want to look your best on the track, look Over the Top. Check them out, Over the Top Paints and Designs.
And as we're talking about that, here comes the number 19 making a move to the outside. The 054 gets a little bit loose. Contact with the 003. I can see visible damage right now on the 003 on the left front fender. Do you think that will hurt him?
I tell you, Ron, any damage is drag here at Talledega. If you stay tucked up on somebody, you can draft off them. You might be all right, but that damage will be a contributing factor to the overall run of your vehicle here at Talledega. And as we watch the field work through 1 and 2, I just want to wish all the listeners out there a happy 4th of July weekend. Not sure which one is the 4th of July weekend, with the 4th of July falling on a Wednesday, so we get 2 4th of July weekends this year, Ronald. It's a pretty awesome thing. Hashtag America. And Fields coming out of turn 4 now, the complete lap 5. Still in the early stages. So a lot of guys showing some patience. A few guys getting rather aggressive up here in the front. Vernon still clinging on barely to the lead at this time at the stripe. Donald Sadusky giving him a hard charge on the outside. Has a little help in his mirror as they rock it off through 1 and 2 in those 33 degrees banks. And that drag race continues through turns 3 and 4. Not really settling down as to who's going to lead this race. Vernon, how do you even pronounce his last name? Nesno's ahead through the middle of the corner. And now Donald gets a huge run on the outside with a little help from behind. That drag race does continue through the trioval here at Talledega. And you're watching this action live at Exile Broadcasting.
See that inside line moving in just a little bit. He's, with the help of Travis Browder, Vernon Margheim now moving ahead ever so slightly of the number 19 truck. Now the number 19 starting to make his way back out. Now I am seeing the 003 car on that outside lane, Bob, just behind the 19 with that damage. And you would think that it would slow him down, but fortunately enough, I'm guessing that because he's in the draft, it's really not affecting him that much.
I believe that damage is not a huge factor if you're in the draft, Ronald, but if he was a first truck in that line, that would hold that whole line up probably. We do have slightly ahead of this pack, we do have a solo truck that is on the verge of going a lap down. That will be a factor here, just as probably as we get to 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 the next time by as the field catches them. And that truck looks like they're going to stay high to give them some room.
Wow, unfortunately, I just had a massive lag spike. I'm not sure if it is from iRacing or if it's my system, but I am showing like the top 5 cars are all damaged right now, so not sure exactly what's going on here with iRacing tonight.
Well, hopefully this reduces your stress, Ron. On my screen, everybody's looking cool and looking green and looking clean. And we're beginning lap 9 of 80. And still, that drag race in the front is on. Okay, gotta ask, how many wins do you have at Talledega?
Oh, geez. To be honest with you, I'm not sure, but a couple, a few, something like that. Not a lot, but I've got a couple.
Well, Ron, hate to be embarrassed to say this, but I've got a total of 2, and I believe, to be honest with you, those wins are big as a sim racer. And a lot of these guys out here, I think a few got a few, and some don't have one, and that's really what they're striving for. Winning at Talledega means a lot as one of the iconic venues of NASCAR.
I agree with you. It's very difficult to win a race here, not just because of the amount of talent that's out here, but also because, well, sometimes it's luck, you know. Sometimes there's some luck involved, and you can get caught up in an incident that wasn't really your fault. So, like you said, you gotta cherish those wins.
So true. Just like in real racing here on the iRacing sim, wins are far few between for most of us, and they're a challenge, and we do enjoy those. And speaking of winning, Vernon Sadusky is still in this drag race here as we now begin a lap 11, Ron. This drag race has been going on for quite a while, and I want to give a shout out to Foot Brake, Mitchell Reeves. He tried to get into the server tonight. I don't think he made it, but give a shout out to my buddy. Had a great win in the Foot Brake series. He's in the real world outside of iRacing. He's a drag racer and was able to get him one this weekend. So hats off to him.
Copy that. I saw that as well, and even commented on it. So I'd like to say congratulations to him as well, and really wish that he could have made the race this evening.
Hey, and field works their way through the try over here, Ron, as we complete lap 11. And I see a couple of guys tinkering around, if you will, on that third lane up. From about second to, well, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly what to call it, but that second row now is 3x3 as they work their way down the back straightaway. We had a little spark action going on there. Look at somebody want to smack the wall just a wee bit, but not too bad.
That third line is definitely making its way around that top side. Now that damage on the 003 seems to actually kind of showing itself. He can't get up to the back of the number 19. That's allowing that third lane up on the top to just kind of drive around as the 003 continues to fall back.
That third lane is at times a threat for second, and then they slip back, and because it's 2x2 on the inside of them, they fall from second to like 6, it seems like. But definitely a threat up there, and making good time. It seems like the bottom is still the place you want to be here.
I would think so. That's where the fast trucks are. But that outside lane can move. It all depends on who's down on that inside line and who the pusher is.
And Ron, for the fans watching, what does Loose Lug Nuts have in store for this upcoming week? We have new season starting on Thursday and Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
As a matter of fact, we do, and I had that ready to post up. and for some reason it's not working. So I'm gonna do this for a moment. There's our schedule for the Sunday night series. Go back to our race here, and for some reason I can't bring up the other series, but starting this week, Thursday we're going to be in the trucks, and Saturday night we're going to be in the Xfinity series, so should be a good week.
Yes, and I believe those series openers are actually a little bit like what we're seeing tonight, Ron, with action at Daytona International Speedway, the world center of speed. Daytona, of course, much more challenging, at least in my opinion, than this Talledega Speedway, as it's a little bit narrower. In fact, it feels a lot narrower when you're out there on the iRacing sim.
I would have to agree with you, Bob.
And field is starting to settle down here a little bit as we come by to complete lap number 15. Sadusky is down on the inside. He's got Brian Big Trouble Tribble on his bumper. And wow, what a run the outside line made. I thought Donald Sadusky was going to lead that lap, and they shut that whole thought down as they come through the tri-oval. And those two trucks pair up and stuff down to the inside. Nice job by those two guys.
I'm going to let you take over here momentarily. I got some issues here that I got to try to work on here, Bob.
Well, Ron, I understand that. We all have issues to work on, and I'll keep the phones entertained while you work that out. And you're tuning in live here at Exile Broadcasting. Truck Series action for Loose Lug Nuts Racing at Talledega. Coming by now to complete lap 16. We have a big battle up front. That battle rages on as they work their way through 1 and 2. The inside line is nosing their way up. I believe that's Tyler Potts in the lead position. Tyler doing a great job out there, as is, I think it's his brother, Levi Garrett Potts, as I call him, out there in the field as well tonight. Hey, if you folks watching, if you've ever been to Talledega Motor Speedway, please share a thought or a favorite memory of your trip down to Talledega, Alabama, with your friends here watching this broadcast tonight. Would love to see what you have to post. Field now working their way through turns 1 and 2. We got, so it looks like Taylor Potts leading. Big battle. We are, whoa, a little bit of spark action on the outside there, a little bit further back in the field. Still no cautions yet in the early stages of this race. 80 laps the distance here tonight.
So with 17 laps in the books, Bob, hopefully got these issues that were plaguing me out of the way. And we've got to spin, we've got to spin, we've got to spin.
We got guys trying to pit. Wow, these guys trying to pit.
That brings out a caution, and it looks like no contact was made. Looks like everybody's going to be okay now. As we tried, I'm going to try to run through the field and see if anybody went down pit road. Yes, we did have some people.
Yeah, we had a few guys going down pit road there, and
wonder if
I'm not sure how that's going to work out.
You think that? Yeah, exactly.
EOLs for entering closed pit and iRacing, they once the pit's closed, you enter the pits, you get an end on longest line penalty, much like you get in real world NASCAR. The iRacing Mustang is picking a field up midway down the back stretch, Ron.
Copy that. We're going to back this up and try to watch and see exactly what happened there. I think Donald Sadusky may have just locked it up and got it sideways, but we'll see as we go live on replay. We get some of these guys that come down, Donald Sadusky and a few others, and Donald just gets too hard on the brakes, looks like, gets sideways. No one touches him. A few of the other guys, the caution did come out, so there may be some penalties there, Bob.
Absolutely. Backing it up on my screen, RK, as we speak, so I can take a look at it. And the thing with Talledega, well, you know, pretty much anywhere you go, Ron, you really want to hustle the machine down to the pit road. And just watched it there. And Donald, he came down off the track there, and yeah, he just slap out lost it, Ron. These vehicles for the super speedway setup, they have a lot of rear brake in them. You get excited, you grab a gear too soon, like pop it into third or second too soon, you get the wheel hopping and a lot of rear brake in it, and it's a handful to hang on to. But with any track that you go, you want to get to that cone, the speed limit cone is what I'm speaking to, as fast as you absolutely can, and get back out there. Of course, here at Talledega, Ron, when you get off of pit road, you want your buddies to be with you, because it's so critical to have a drafting partner. These guys are now getting them filled up in 4 tires. For the guys that have damage, we'll be able to get that corrected via fast repair, or just using the old school method of just having the guys work on it at pit road. But under caution here for the first time at Talledega.
Now, you said the old school way.
The old school
Talk
way,
to us, and maybe some of the fans that may be out there watching, about what the benefit of doing the old school way here is and why.
Well, Ron, it's lap 20. I'm not sure how many fast repairs we give the guys tonight. Looks like 1. So we have 1 fast repair. So at this juncture, what I would do is I would go down pit road if I had any damage at all, Ron, and I would turn my fast repair off, and I would assess the situation. So if it's like under a minute, I'm just going to let the guys fix it and save that mulligan for you guys that play golf, if you will, for later on in the event. Because this is Talledega, Ron, and even though it's a small field, we could still have the big one. And that would be when you would want to use a fast repair. A fast repair, for you folks that are watching and don't iRace, it's like a reset. It's you pull into the pits, and the truck's all screwed up, engines blowed up, the fenders are pointing every which way but loose, and you get a new truck just like that. Just 4 tire, you still have to pay the time to get the tires and the fuel, but you get a brand new truck. And it's still the early stages, and if it was minimal damage, I would just probably repair it the old school way, as I said.
So what's the benefit to that method here at Talledega versus, say, like a short track like Bristol?
It's all about finishing. Like, we're running for points here tonight. It's a 6-race series. For the guys that have been here each week, they want to win a championship. So if you got a fender that's been in, you save that fast repair until you really need it, get that best finish possible. If it's not your night and you can't win.
Right. And then, of course, on top of that, like Bristol, even under caution, they make pretty quick laps here at Talledega. What's it take? Probably about 2 minutes to get around under caution.
Yeah, definitely huge advantage, if you will, Ron. You can fix a lot of damage on the caution, whereas Bristol, in hindsight, you barely have enough time to make a 4-tire change and fill it full of fuel. Bristol's one of those deals where you come down the first time, either work on the damage or do the tires, or vice versa, and make that second stop, and hopefully that third stop if there's enough caution laps. Just like in real NASCAR, you see the guys, they'll come down and work on the car a little bit, and then be cognizant as to where the pace car is. The iRacing Mustang, for instance, is now in turn 3. But you be cognizant of what's going on that racetrack at the same time. Hopefully you have a teammate or a buddy that'll keep you up to date on that. Fix that shit and get back on the track without losing a lap. Because losing a lap, regardless of what venue you are at, is hard to recover. Lucky dogs are on here tonight, so if one guy does end up lap down, they will get that lucky dog opportunity.
Copy that, and we are kind of going through the field and looking at these trucks here, and looking at Todd Anthony posting right now. He's still got a little bit of damage, so he did not take that fast repair. So I think he must have done what you said, took the the old school approach, and here these guys come back down. Most looks like most everybody's coming back down pit road again to probably top off and see if they can make it a little bit further. Now we kind of changed things up. We're running 50% fuel loads and 50% of the race for each series. So these guys came back in and got topped off, and that's going to shake the standings up just a little bit, I would think. So right now I am showing Mr. James Brown. I feel good, Mr. James Brown.
Yes,
out
James
in front.
Brown.
Let's see if we can get a quick word in with him before they go back.
Wow, I was just going to do
Green.
that.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
James Brown, how you feel about leading at this juncture?
Oh, I feel good, man. I feel good. Unfortunately, I just got off sequence with the fuel. We were just having that discussion with my teammates about ducking in and giving up the lead for fuel, and I fell asleep. I didn't duck in.
Okay, you got anything for James I feel good, Brown?
Well, besides the iRacing issues, unfortunately, I think that stopped us from having quite a larger field. How's the mentality? How's the field out there tonight?
Everybody's laid back. There's nobody really pushing and shoving, and it's great loose lug nuts. The loose lug nut drivers you can't say enough good about. These guys they're professionals. I love racing over here.
Good stuff, James. You were down there with Anthony and Garrett, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll move you down there because you guys are in turn 4 by now.
All right, thank you.
User was moved out of your channel.
All right, that was James Brown. Of course, the long-standing joke with his name is, a nickname rather, is I Feel Good Brown. Great competitor, great friend. Always have fun racing with James Brown here on the iRacing Sim Rocket.
Absolutely. Jim is obviously a teammate of mine. We chose to broadcast tonight instead of race. Would have loved to race with these guys, but wanted to broadcast because it is a special event, and we, to be honest, thought that we would have had a bigger field, and we do know that we would have had a bigger field. We know we had a few guys that were trying to get in last minute and were unable to because of the iRacing service issues. So looks like we were back under green. We actually, they fooled me because they're single file, but I forgot that everybody went in for fuel.
Yes, speaking of that was kind of a weird thing with all those guys going in with one to go to top off. It was a single file restart for the most part. James Brown shows the field down the back straightaway here at Talledega Motor Speedway after that non-traditional restart, RK.
Yes, very, very odd. Kind of threw me off my game there, so to speak. Was not expecting that at all. And regardless, here we are. And it looks like Jason Smoke Hughes in the number 58 is going to pull the outside. He's got help from behind. James Brown is left out to dry down on that down in that bottom lane.
Hung out like a load of laundry that just come out of the washer. Jason Smoke Hughes takes the lead here as we begin lap 24. And sadly, looks like Brian Big Trouble Tribble has had internet connection trouble and fell out of the race, RK. And looks like T Rowdy, my buddy T Rowdy, is mainly disconnected. Not sure what happened there.
I'm seeing the same thing on mine. I have a sheet up that shows people in white and people in a gold color, and the people in white are no longer on the track or no longer in the room, and I'm showing 4 people in white right now. One of them being Travis Browder, the other one being Brian Tribble, one of them being you, and one of them being me. So unfortunately, four out of the 17 people in the room are not on the track right now.
Still a great race, and they say smoke will rise, and he sure has, as he shows the field the way down the back straightaway here at lap 25. And we do see a high line starting to develop there. If you were in smoke trucks and look in the mirror, we got 4 guys lined up there trying to get something together to make a challenge. First 3-hour single file as they come out of turn 4. Behind them, it's 2x2 for about four rows.
Field's starting to kind of come back together after that weird single file restart. It's got a couple of guys that are kind of lagging behind.
It's weird how that works, Ron. Even under like a green flag situation, the field gets like strung out for a few laps, and then like bam, all of a sudden you got this huge pack of cars. All of a sudden, just like the race started again. This restricted play racing just blows my mind. The things you can do with the air and drafting and everything else, and Ron, as we see these guys work through turns 3 and 4, you see some hard side drafting. And maybe you can speak to the folks that are watching the race tonight, what side drafting is and means, and what advantage that can play, and what disadvantage that could play at times.
Well, side drafting is basically, coming down to the side of the truck or car beside you, and it kind of pulls a little bit of air off of them, puts it on you, and by doing that, it actually slows that car or truck next to you down while it speeds you up because you're actually picking up some of the air off of that car.
So, like, if you're like 2 boats going down like a lake, a river, or whatever, you're like riding inside one boat's wake, but at the same time, you're like pushing water into his boat, slowing them down.
Yes.
All right. And we have a side-by-side for battle as they come out of the trial. Well, I think that's James Brown there on the outside, giving Smoke all he can take. And Smoke, not a lot of help on the inside line. We have 2 trucks on the inside line, and we have 5 trucks lined up on that high side.
I'll tell you what, David Washington was able to get into the room, not sure how, why, what, where, but he ended up, right now we're showing him 17 laps down, so he made it into the room. He's fast, he's up there. He just pushed James Brown to the front of the field, put him out there in front of the number 58 truck.
And I gotta say, I think you've raced with him a lot. I've raced with him quite a bit over at Hold My Beer Racing. Dave Washington is not only a champion on the track, but a true champion off the track. More than willing to share and educate his fellow competitors on how to be fast at many of these tracks on the iRacing sim.
Absolutely. I am utterly impressed with the knowledge that Dave Washington holds and is willing to share with people too, and he likes competition, and he's been helping a lot of drivers. You can see it, you know it, you've been there, the guys that I'm talking about. So Dave's just an all-around great guy to have around. I'm glad that he's kind of come on board and joined Hold My Beer and Loose Lug Nuts as well.
Lots of good times. RK, I'm going to leave you alone with the fans for a moment while I step off these little boys' room and grab another cold beverage.
Copy that. We're going to make a trip through the field. We're going to start with our leader, Mr. James Brown. We're going to put the cameras right up on him. I'm going to focus on Mr. Brown, and then I'm going to change our vantage point. You can see the 093, that's Dave Washington on the outside. And we're going to walk through the field real quick here. So, without further ado, That's James Brown in the 000. That's the number 58 of Jason Smoke Hughes, sporting the DeWalt Tools. I want to say Denver Broncos because I'm so used to saying it, but that's not true. DeWalt Tools number 58 Smoke Racing Chevy Silverado. We're going to step back one more. There is Dave Washington in the 093 in the Amazon.com and UPS truck. In the number 11, we've got Brandon Dorsett sporting the Firehouse Subs. We're going to have to jump back. There's the 088 truck of Taylor Potts making a run to the outside in the Art of Rune Chevy Silverado. And we jump back to Brandon Dorsett. And there is Donald Sadusky in that fantastic paint job, remembering Ryan, his son. And we jump back one more. There is Vernon Margheim in the 095 truck. We've already talked about Brandon Dorsett. There is Trevor Pertelli in the number 7, the Beaver Buzz Toyota Tundra. We already talked about Taylor Potts. There is Anthony Poston in the I Proudly Wear Orange Toyota Tundra. His teammate Garrett Potts in the number 57 Potts Racing Machine, the Toyota Tundra. Jump back one more spot. We see Greg Covington in the Speedco number 96 Chevrolet Silverado. And one spot further back, rounding out our field, is the number 48 of Steven Linen in the Target Chevrolet Silverado.
All right, I'm back, RK, and I see we're still under green, so I didn't miss any carnage while I was using the little boy's room. Field stacked up nicely, 2x2, as they worked away in the turn 3 here on lap 33 at Talledega Motor Speedway.
Yes, there's been a little bit of movement going on up front. We just walked through the field, showed everybody the cars and trucks, or the trucks and the paint jobs.
A lot of great paints out here, and I'll tell you, Ron, one of our other loose lug nut supporters that isn't unfortunately here with us tonight is Billy Wise and the Wise Guys. Great guy, but Ron, I don't know if you heard it, and hopefully Billy's watching and he'll repost it on Facebook, but Billy did a badass Star Spangled Banner on a lead electric guitar. So Billy, if you're listening, repost that stuff on Facebook, because I'm sure a lot of people, especially around Independence Day, would love to hear that again. And like I've always said, Rocker, don't listen to the dumb music, listen to the Wise Guys. Field now working their way through the trioval here, getting ready to complete lap 34. It looks like we have James Brown in the lead here at this juncture. Still a long ways to go, RK. What's that fuel load look like tonight? Because we saw a lot of guys go back in and top off on that last caution. What do you expect these Craftsman Camping World, whatever it's called nowadays, Truck Series competitors to be able to get out of a tank of fuel?
I believe they're going to get about 18 to 20.
So if you stretch it, if you're not in the lead and you can get the 20 laps, these guys are still looking at a projected pit stop here in just a few laps. So we need to keep our eyes open as to who can get to completing lap 40, because that's going to be very critical if this race was to go green to the Checker Flag Falls.
The same trucks are up front that have been up front, with the exception of James Brown. I think he started a little bit further back. But for the most part, the same trucks that were up front are still up front.
And looking through the field, Ron, what is your favorite paint job out there tonight?
I got to tell you, I really like the number 58's paint scheme. I'll actually focus on that truck here momentarily. I like the number 58's paint scheme. I like the fact that he's got the DeWalt Tools banner on there, but he's also sporting.
Does that mean you hate Joey Logano?
No, it does not. But I did see something interesting that I have not noticed prior to. It says Smoke Racing on the side of that truck, and I was not aware that there was a Smoke Racing. So I find that very interesting, and that's one of my favorite trucks tonight.
I tell you, the top four there, the two on the inside, two on the outside, definitely working each other over pretty hard as far as the bump draft. You got Sadusky leading the way on the outside, and Smoke Hughes and James Brown, the duo down on the inside.
Looks like the outside lane's starting to fall apart, though.
They did. Single file. Donald Sadusky's hung out to dry like a wet load of laundry. Looking for some help. We have Craig Covington, great competitor, picking him up on the outside line, but he's already like 4 trucks back from the lead, it looks like, coming out of turn 2.
Yeah, that outside line starting to kind of wiggle a little bit, getting that snake effect going down the back stretch. They need to get it in line. They'll be a little bit faster and obviously make me breathe a little easier too.
My mistake, that isn't Craig on the outside. I expected him to be in that colored truck, though.
That would be the number 88 truck of Garrett Potts, I believe.
Oh, yes, Levi Garrett Potts, as I call him over at Home of Air Racing.
I'm sorry, Taylor Potts. Taylor Potts.
Oh, the other Potts. Pots and pans we got out here.
We got... we do have 2 Potts out here. We got Taylor and we've got Garrett.
Does 2 Potts equal a pan? I don't know. But a good drag race out of turn 2. Now the outside line has definitely come together, and James Brown is very challenged as they rocket down the next straightaway, and the 19 truck slips down in front of him going into turn 3. Donald Sadusky takes the lead here as they come around to complete lap 39, and we have hit that benchmark bar. Lap 39, we will see these competitors pit probably in the next lap or 2 at the very most, I believe.
Yeah, they pitted. Remember, they topped off and they went back to green at lap 22. So I would think that most of them are going to try to make it to at least 40 to 42 to kind of give them a buffer. If the window is 20, I think they're going to be looking for to get to 41 or 42 to make it to 80, but it's actually 81.
Here at Talledega, though, Ron, as you know, I think a lot of these guys are thinking about who they're going to pit with. It's not so much tire strategy and all that, but you want to go to pit road with a friend.
Here we go. Here come. Oh, and the 19 gets out of it again.
Again, the Sadusky's around, and we have a caution coming out. I'm sure of it.
No, we're still green.
Still green. Wow,
we are still green.
Somebody else lost it over there going into the pit.
Anthony Poston was sideways on the track, but since there was no one near him, it does not bring out a caution. That is going to shake this field up tremendously.
That is a huge loss to Anthony in this race. Not only is he going to suffer that loss of time, but he's going to be forced to go around this track by himself and actually pit by himself, Ron, and with no drafting help. That's what, 2 seconds a lap time?
So right now, I've got the leaders coming out of turn 4. I look at Anthony Poston. He is midway down the back stretch. He is probably...
The field is pitting.
He is probably... it's showing 14 seconds back. So there is no way that he is going to be able to make that up in any way, shape, or form. He is going to have to live with it, ride it out, and hope for a caution before he goes a lap down.
In short, and not so politically correct, Ron, he is fucked.
That is correct, unfortunately. Now, as we look at the number 19 of Donald Sadusky is just coming out on the back stretch. He is midway down the back stretch, and your leader, Craig Covington, is just now coming out of the pits.
The key is, Ron, not only getting down the pit road quick, but I'm watching Craig Covington on my screen. I'm not sure what you're showing, but the real key is these guys, they want to be on each other's bumpers by turn one. You want to be bump drafting and in each other's draft ASAP.
Absolutely.
The sooner you're in the draft, the sooner you are making good power and good speed. And you see these guys getting greedy. Like, these guys just come out of the pits, and now they're side by side and broken up instead of all three of them in a line, and they're costing themselves, in my opinion.
Well, I do.
Anthony, he is begging for a caution. He is praying to every god under the sun right now for a caution. And he's going to go down. He's going to get his tires. He's going to do what he can do, but it's only a matter of time before he's a lap down.
That is correct, but it does look like Donald Sadusky and Anthony Poston are within about 3 seconds of each other, so they probably will get hooked up. Yes, they're still going to lose time to the leader. There's no doubt about that, because right now we've got, well, they're coming back together, so we're going to have about an 8-car breakaway from the rest of the field. 6 cars, maybe? Maybe there's a lap car in there. So there's 7 cars in that pack, and
7 cars in that lead pack.
Yeah,
Right.
and they're gonna slowly but surely just start to pull away from, the number 11 and the number 7, Brandon Dorsett. We look at him; he is hooked up with David Washington. Trevor Pertelli is about a second behind. They will probably get hooked up at some point. Then we fall back 19 seconds back to Anthony Poston. And then something has happened with Donald Sadusky, because he has actually fallen. He was just about a second behind Anthony. He's now almost 4 seconds behind.
I was watching Donald on his way in the pit road. He got sideways as hell again. He was one of the trucks I thought was actually going to bring out a caution on that last cycle.
Well, fortunately for us, it did not bring out a caution. Unfortunately for those involved, it did not bring out a caution. So depending on which way you want to look at it, for us, we love green flag racing and pit stops and whatnot up in the booth, and I'm sure the fans do as well. But unfortunately for them, the drivers, that's definitely not what they wanted. We are on lap 44 of 80 with 36 to go. There is always another chance for a caution. So what is that going to do for these guys, Bob, if we do have another caution?
Well, if I was on track, Ron, I'd just be biding my time, finding the guys that I can pit with, not only get in the pits out with quickly, but get out of the pits with, like I spoke to, getting bunched up, getting the draft going on fast. I tell you, man, I am pumped to see Craig Covington leading right now. This guy is awesome. He is a gentleman. Each and every time I race with him, and I would love to see Craig Covington go out here and get him one. Great guy, stand-up guy. Always respectful to race with. Huge, cool thing to see him racing. But he's got some challenges all in his mirror with those 6 trucks behind him as we work now lap 45. I think at this stage, Ron, the key is, and a lot of these guys are in the same TeamSpeak channel, and for you guys that don't know what TeamSpeak is, it's a voice chat application. A lot of these guys and I race news behind the scenes, but you want to be, in a sense, in communication without giving it away with the other guys that are in that same channel, that we're going to work together and go out and then figure this out between ourselves on the last lap. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's why, you can go racing at almost any racetrack, but when you come to a super speedway, you got to have a friend. And, you don't necessarily need to be teammates to be a friend with somebody, because sometimes something happens to your teammates and you're the only one out there. You got to make friends with somebody else who may not have a friend. So then the two of you can hook up and maybe help each other later in the race. Now, as it stands, with this 7-car breakaway, we got Craig Covington, Jason Hughes, Taylor Potts, James Brown, Vernon Margheim, the number 48 of Steven Linen, who is a lap down, and then Garrett Potts. So if I look over at my team speak, as you were talking about, I see that Jason Hughes, Brandon, excuse me while I have my brain fart here, Brandon Dorsett, and Craig Covington are all in the same teams, because we have somebody down on the apron.
Craig gets a little bit loose off of bump draft off the Jason Smoke Hughes there down in the turn 3. Recovers very, very nicely, though. Field carries on.
Wow, that was a heart stopper for just a moment, but I tell you what, that just goes to show you the talent that's in the room. Even though we have a smaller field, again, due to unfortunate circumstances, and I have been advised by the league owner that we are doing a do-over next weekend because of the issues that we had tonight. So for those of you out there watching, or for those of you that will be watching in the future, you might hear this, we will be doing this again next weekend.
Ron, does that mean I have to drink the same amount of beer and broadcast with you next weekend?
That would be more than probable.
All right, then. And I hope the fans are enjoying the broadcast here at Exile Broadcast and presenting you Loose Lug Nuts Racing here at Talledega Motor Speedway, as the vehicles just came by to start lap 50. James Brown sneaking his way back to the front, but he better watch out, because I think Jason Smoke Hughes and Craig Covington will hook up again and make a charge for the front.
So getting back to that, I was talking about that when we had that little incident. So we've got, basically we got Craig Covington and Jason Hughes working together, more than likely in team speak and on the track. Then you have the team of James Brown, Anthony Poston, Garrett Potts, and Taylor Potts working together in the same team speak. So unfortunately for both of those groups, Brandon Dorsett is not in this lead pack, so he will not be able to help out Craig Covington and Jason Hughes the way that he wants to. Same goes with Anthony Poston. He's not in this group, so he won't be able to help out the Potts brothers and James Brown. Now, the interesting one here is we have Vernon Margheim, who's in the same channel as Donald Sadusky, so I think they were going to be working together. And as the pack is approaching Donald Sadusky, I would expect to see Donald Sadusky try to dive bomb down underneath them, pull enough side draft off of one of these cars, and try to keep up.
He should definitely be able to do that. And this, as a fan, Ron, this is that stage of the race where I'm like, man, I'd love to see a caution right now. Just debris, some bullshit on the side of the track. Let's throw a caution and let these guys get back together and get after it. But Donald Sadusky should be able he is slipping back a little bit as they go down in turn 1, but I think he may be able to catch this pack's draft and keep himself in a lucky dog position.
I think if he could have talked to somebody and got someone to kind of hold up just a little bit, I think he would have been able to, but he's too far back now. The draft is gone. The only way that he's going to catch back up to this draft is if Covington drops back and allows him to pull off of him. But these are moves that you have to make immediately. You know, you can't wait for that pack to get further away.
There's no dilly-dilly about that. As soon as that pack gets by, you need to cuff that wheel, essentially, and get back down in that draft.
Right, and if somebody's going to drop back and help, you know, it has to be immediate. Somebody has to drop back immediately, get off the throttle, and then let that car that, you know, like Donald Sadusky, let him push you back up to the pack. You know, it is a bigger pack up front, but this isn't a 20 car pack. 2 trucks can catch this pack. So as we see, Donald Sadusky and unfortunately Anthony Poston have both been lapped by this field. Donald Sadusky is starting to catch the back end of Anthony Poston. Once he catches him, if they can get together fast enough, they actually have a chance to push back up to this pack.
And at the same time, that field's getting a bit rowdy up front as Jason Hughes with Craig Covington out front. They're 3 wide for a moment out of the trioval. And those 2 guys, I think, Ron, like you were saying, as I look back at them, should be able to connect to each other and now be able to do something good. There'll be a fist fight and a big brawl back there, I'm sure, as to who can be in that lucky dog position.
Well, not only that, but it might also allow them, you know, to get up there and work with teammates. You know, like Anthony Poston can work with his teammates, or Donald Sadusky might be able to get up there and help Vern, you know, win back-to-back races here at Loose Lug Nuts.
Got that for sure. Okay, and the field will be beginning lap 55, Ron, and both of the green flag cycles have seen a lot of drama as far as these guys getting their vehicles down in the pit road, and we are just a few laps away from that next green flag cycle of pit stops. What are your thoughts?
Well, hopefully we won't have the issues that we've had to date. Donald, you know, is definitely having difficulty getting onto pit road. Hopefully nobody else will. Smaller field. We've had quite a few guys park it for the evening. Well, not quite a few. We've had 3 guys park it for the evening. David Washington still being a trooper. He's still out there making laps, but it's really about this 7-car field right now, and only 6 of them are actually in it for the win. Steven Leinen is 1 lap down.
Man, too bad for, as they call him, big body Steven Lyman. A great competitor. I think if you followed me on the iRacing sim, you probably know Big Body and I have had our fair share of huge battles and good times on the iRacing sim field. Now working their way down into Turn 3. Ron, want to know your thoughts here as we near our last scheduled pit stop of this event. What are your mind thoughts? No tires, 2 tires, left sides, right sides, fuel only. What are you thinking, and what are you communicating to your teammates so that he's on the same page, so that you get off of that pit road and get hooked right up in that draft, so that you do the better job than everybody else?
Well, first and foremost, you know, they gotta try to make it to lap 61 because we're assuming a lot here. I'm guessing they got about a 20 lap, maybe 21 lap fuel load. So first of all, they got to make it the next 3.5 laps, and that gets them to 60. That means they got to make it 21 laps, and then, as you said, getting hooked up. So right now you've got the Potts brothers at different ends. You got Taylor up front, you got Garrett in the back. James Brown was up front for some reason, has fallen to the back, and I gotta wonder, do you think that might be a fuel strategy?
You know, James is an awesome guy, smart guy, and I believe he's probably, you know, if you've raced the iRacing sim, you know, like if you're in that position, he's probably only running damn 3/4 of a throttle down damn straightaway. So he's probably saving some fuel, making sure that he is got enough of that go-go juice to the end. That's the only reason why. He's, like I said, he's a smart racer, just by saving that equipment too.
So now we are single file. We don't have any side-by-side racing going on. I got to believe that a lot of this is fuel saving strategy. And we are coming to finish lap 58. Looks like someone might have spun out.
Might have blew up because there was smoke on the trioval that time by.
Might have locked it up or may have blown up, but we are not going to. I'll keep an eye. It looked like it might have been David Washington, to be honest with you. I'll point my cameras to David and we'll see where David sits. David is just coming.
Their way out of turn 2 in that single file format that Ron spoke of. Not much to talk about here. Tyler Potts, Arcade, do you think Tyler is screwing himself by being in the lead at this juncture and maybe burning more fuel and might put himself in a bad spot? Field is coming by to complete lap 59. They're going to want to get at least one more, I believe, to make that window.
Yeah, I can't say anything because I don't know. I didn't run these trucks. I don't know what the fuel load is. I mean, I know what the fuel load is, but I don't know how many laps they can go. I gotta make an assumption here that if they can make it to lap 60, they can make it the rest of the way. So I expect to see at least a few guys probably ducking down pit road this time.
I think you're right, Ron. I think you're spot on. I think 20 laps is the window. We will see as the field makes their way down the back straightaway here at Talledega and hammers those trucks into the 33-degree bank. And Tyler Potts shows the way with Jason Smoke Hughes in second as they work their way out of turn 4. Tyler Potts makes that dive by JC. The whole field is pitting this time by. This is going to be interesting. And I have the wrong camera view to watch this, Ron. Tell the fans what's going on down there on pit road.
Unfortunately, I did too, but here we've got Taylor Potts coming down pit road. Oh, no.
Oh, Taylor Potts just smacked the wall entering his pit box.
Vern and Margheim got into the back of Taylor Potts. That is definitely going to end Taylor Potts's attempt for this.
Ripping off at his pit stall. He will be the first out of pit road, a side-by-side battle. And then, Ron, as you know, with the recent update on iRacing, these drivers cannot actually prematurely enter the track. There's actually a blue line, blue cone if you have those options turned on. Looks like Smoke Hughes actually is behind Lyman, if I'm not mistaken, as they work their way out of turn 2. But huge screw up on Tyler's spot there. He got a little loose going into his pit box and hammered the wall on the inside there. Not sure what else you saw there, RK.
Not great pit stops for a few of these guys. They're gonna have to. The top 3 broke away, and then it's Garrett Potts, Craig Covington, and James Brown did not have great stops. They somehow have to get back together and overpower that. They just got to push for everything that they got. Right now, Jason Smoke Hughes, Vernon Margheim, that's your two. That's your leaders. Linen is just a helper, basically.
Roger that one. So, RK, putting you behind the sim racing wheel. It looks like Tyler Potts has retired too. That's a shame. Too bad. But guy quits. But putting you in that 58 truck for a minute. What is your strategy to bring home that checkered flag tonight?
My strategy would simply be hold it to the bottom, get somebody to push on me, and try to pull away from the rest of the field. It's just pure and simple.
Okay, now to contradict that, you're Vern. How do you get the win?
Unfortunately, with the way that the field is right now, unless he stops, not stops, but maybe slows up and picks up somebody, and he looks like he has some front end damage, not positive, but it looks like he has some front end damage. He's barely hanging on to these two trucks in front of him. I don't think that he's in any position whatsoever. He may be holding back a little bit, but it's going to be very difficult for Vernon to be able to get around these trucks in front of him. We have just 17 laps to go, and to give you an idea, because there are a couple cars out here, we got the number 58 up front. He is your first position. Then you got Vernon Margheim, who I just put the cameras on. He is in the second position. Then you got to drop back 5.9 seconds to Garrett Potts, James Brown, and Craig Covington. Now, they have gotten hooked up, and they are going to be pushing. The question is, Bob, can they have 17 laps to make up, well, call it 6 seconds.
I don't see any of those guys making that time up. Around, I was cycling through the cameras, and Vern does have nose damage, but would I call it significant nose damage? No, I would not. He's got a little crinkle up on the top of the hood, but nothing huge.
But now that he's got Trevor behind him, I think he has a better chance at trying to do something with Smoke. But I don't think that I just don't think that he's going to outright overpower him. I mean, Trevor's going to have to push for everything that he's got to push Vernon up past Smoke. I just don't really see it happen. And I'm watching my timing and scoring here. And I'll let you know here in just a second what happens with that second group of guys. They did knock off a half a second last lap, so I'll tell you what happens here momentarily. Okay, they just knocked another half a second off. So in two laps,
that's a lot.
in 2 laps, they've knocked off 1 second. If they continue at this rate, they will be there in 10 laps. They got 15 to go. They can be there.
This could be interesting, folks. That being said, RK, I'm going to go get another beer with that huge amount of interest coming up. And you are watching Loose Like That's Racing live here at Exile Broadcasting.
As we watch Garrett Potts and James Brown and Craig Covington, they are pushing for everything they had. They were 5 seconds back from the leaders. The lap before, you can see the counter right there. It says 4.5. They're going to knock another half a second off of the lead that the leaders had. They have now cut off 1.5 seconds in 3 laps. If they continue at this rate, they will be there with about 5 to go. So things could get interesting. And I jump back up front, and you see Jason Smoke Hughes is leading. Vernon Margheim is the 3rd car in line there. That is your 2nd place position. Jason Smoke Hughes is going to pull out. For some reason, he has pulled up and allowed the 48 to go around him. Then ducks back down. He may be trying to save some fuel here, folks. Donald Sadusky is out there, Michelle. Unfortunately, he had an incident earlier and has put himself 1 lap down, but he is hooked up with Anthony Post, and they are trying to make up time. As we go back up front, and we have 1 loose, and we may have a caution. That is the number 57 car of Garrett Potts. Garrett Potts getting it going. Will not bring out a caution flag. Garrett Potts still going.
Still green here at Talledega, as you said, Ron.
Unfortunately, we just
from the fridge.
Just missed it. Garrett Potts got loose. I'm sure it was a product of the hard pushing that James Brown and Garrett Potts were doing. Unfortunately, there was probably a bumper hook involved. I'm not even going to go back and look at it. The lead was down to 3.5 seconds. Craig Covington is now on the back of James Brown. He's going to have to get up on the wheel, and he's going to have to get to the back bumper of James Brown and push for everything that he's got if he wants to have a shot at that win. Either one of these guys.
And speaking of that, it seems like in the last build or two, RK, bump drafting on iRacing on these super speedways, Daytona and Talledega in particular, has become more tricky. The truck's not so bad, but you know, Xfinity Series action, it's very, very easy to turn somebody, it seems like, in the corners with a rather aggressive bump draft. Heck, Ron, I turned you at Daytona 3 or 4 or 5 months ago in a race with a rather aggressive bump draft. Can you speak to that to the folks that are watching here on XL Broadcasting?
Oh yeah, it's just a product of super speedway racing. When you're trying to push on somebody, if the bumpers don't line up perfectly, sometimes you get what's called the bumper hook, and it's just basically just not hitting the bumpers square. So it happens. It's tight racing, and nobody likes to see it happen, but it does happen.
Plus, later on in the run, tires get hot, they get worn, the grip level goes down, so it's much easier to do at that juncture as well, right, RK?
That is correct. We are coming to just 10 laps to go. Now, unfortunately, that march that we had seen from James Brown, Garrett Potts, and Craig Covington has really, really slowed down. They only made 0.2 up that last lap. They are 3.352 seconds back. They have swapped positions. We're going to look at Craig Covington. Craig Covington is now in front of James Brown. James Brown is going to try to push Craig Covington up to the leaders.
But look who's in second.
Vernon Markheim is in second place. And as we get closer to the finish here, I will definitely be putting the cameras on them. I'm just watching to see if these guys here, the number 96 and the 000, can make any headway up. Now they just knocked another couple 0.3 off that time. So by changing positions, James Brown getting behind the number 96 car, they cut off 0.3 that time. That would put them, oh man, with just a couple laps to go, they actually could potentially catch these guys. And also, once they get within about a second of that group, they'll pick up a lot more speed. So what do you think, Bob? Do they have a chance? They're down to 2.6 seconds. They've cut almost a 0.5 off again. James Brown must be pushing with everything he's got.
You know, I think it's all, we have smoke. We have a smoker going.
Oh no!
There. I don't believe it's going to bring out a caution, but that was interesting.
That was Garrett Potts. Garrett Potts must have blown up from the damage that he had.
And that's an interesting aspect that you speak of, Ron. Seems like in this current build at iRacing.com, if you don't fix all the damage, go back out there and you have a significant part of the race left, you can and will hand grenade the engine. Field now working their way.
Wow, Bob Wells, I got to update you here. These guys, the 96 car was 3 seconds back last lap. After completing that lap, 2.2 seconds. They are down to 1.1 currently as we speak. I have it up on the screen. Down to 1 second, 0.9, 0.8. These guys are there with 8 to go. James Brown and Craig Covington have willed their way back into this race. Literally wheeled. W-H-E-L-H-E-E-L-E-D. Wheeled their way back up into this race. They are now part of this race, Bob. What do you think?
Well, you know, I believe, I'm not sure who said it first, but Grandma, put your teeth in your pocketbook because we're in for a wild one here as we are in the closed stations field working their way off. Lap 74 underway. That back lacquer pack, if you will, has caught and will be challenging our current leader, Jason Smoke Hughes, in the closing stages of this event here at Talledega Motor Speedway.
I am impressed. I did not think that the 2 trucks alone would be able to catch the 4 trucks. I'm really impressed. James Brown Yeah, I'm telling you, I think James Brown might want to win this race, Bob. What do you think?
Ron, frankly, I thought you were out to friggin' lunch talking about those guys. They were so far back. And
Seven going in. 19 penny.
All right, guys, I don't know exactly what happened. I lost my microphone. Trying to get the overlays up here. That is your running order. Number 58 of Jason Hughes is your leader. We are on the final lap.
Oh, push me to the wind, Pond. I'm out. Oh.
And in a crazy finish, I don't know if y'all can hear me. It looks like James Brown may. No, James Brown will not win.
Did you run out too?
Looks like Vernon Margheim is your winner.
Out of fuel.
what a finish. What a last lap. I don't know if we were broadcasting that whole time, RK.
Sorry, Vern.
No, unfortunately, something happened. My computer
win,
completely
Vern. Good job.
restarted, but I did see the end of it. Caught Vernon Margheim winning. Everybody else ran out of fuel.
Anyway, we're going to grab Vern. Are you broadcasting?
Yes, I am broadcasting. Go ahead and start with third place and go from there.
That was fun, boys. That was a pretty good time. Nice
Who the
race.
hell was third?
Thanks for the help, James.
Let's
Yeah,
bring up
Greg,
the
you did
results
awesome
here.
job. Yeah, thank you for the help too.
I believe it's going to be
Might have enough for a little
Jim
bit of a
Brown
let-out.
in third, Craig Covington in second, and then Vernon Margheim.
Not me.
James
I'm out.
Brown. James
Funny
Brown.
thing is,
How
Ron,
Yes,
did
sir.
your
Fuel
race
mileage.
go tonight? Hey, tell me you finished third.
Yeah, I had to go back. I ran out coming to the start-finish line and kind of log jammed everything behind me, and I hope nobody got knocked out of the race because of that. But I saved, and I thought I was gonna have a little something for Burn there at the end. It just ran out.
And anybody out there you want to thank, we're going to grab Craig and get him up here before he leaves. But James Brown, third place at Talledega, how do you feel?
I feel good.
And we got Craig Covington up in the channel with us at the same time. Craig, Any words as to how far you want to kick James Brown in the ass right now for not finishing second instead of him finishing third?
Yeah, I tell you, I thought he was going to get second, but I just got lucky there.
I was awesome.
Greg, you're a great competitor, a great friend, and a great man. And good to see you get a great finish here at Talledega. James Brown,
Yes, sir.
any final thoughts for the fans watching here at Exile Broadcasting?
Yeah, last couple of weeks I've been racing with Craig quite a bit, and I'd raced with him before, but it seems like lately we're side by side, and I am having a blast with him. Hell of a racer.
Good stuff, and love both you guys, and can't wait to get back on the track with both of you. Now we're bringing up our race winner, 2 nights in a row. Who's my name? Vern. Bringing it back to back in Loose Lug Nuts Victory Lane. Vern, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Vern, what can you say? Last night, Xfinity, Kentucky. Tonight, trucks at Dega, 2 Loose Lug Nuts victories in a row. What the hell can you say about that?
I learned from the best. I learned from Mark Jackson saving fuel. That last run, I kid you not, I didn't even go full throttle. At least I didn't try to the whole run. I knew we were going to be a lap short, so I had to figure out how I was going to gain a lap. So I figured let all these guys go out in front of me, let them be full throttle, I'll save. And then, well, as you can tell, the last 2 nights I've won it off of turn 4.
Well done, Vern. And is there anybody you want to give a hell yeah to or a shout out to while you're out here on SL Broadcasting?
Well, over the top paints, of course. Nice, beautiful truck. They painted up for me a while back. IndianaDiesel.com. And can't forget GTR Simulator. They've been around for quite a bit. And everybody here, we had a fun night. It was a great race, and I want to thank everybody for coming out.
Cool beans, Vern, and huge fist pump from you from me to you, and great job tonight. Okay, what you got?
Thank you.
No, just wanted to say congratulations, Vern. Nice to see you back. Nice to see you racing over here. Hope you come back, and hell of a job, man. Keep it up.
Well, two for 2. Can't beat that.
No, not at all.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good night.
Well, okay, I think we saw a small field, but a pretty exciting race tonight here on Exile Broadcasting for the Loose Lug Nuts Racing League. What are your final thoughts before we put a cap on this model?
Well, tonight's issues were for me just kind of started as we couldn't get in the room, and then I'm not exactly sure what happened. I literally had a computer restart. It just my screens went blank, and I was like, did I kick something? Did I do something wrong? And then all of a sudden it went into restart. Tried to get it back up as quickly as possible. I'm glad I got it back up, and the fans who will watch or who are watching got to see the finish, because that was going to be a heck of a battle, and hopefully won't happen again.
Sure was, and it was a good time, and huge thank you to any and all fans that were watching tonight's broadcast. Huge thank you to many of our great supporters and sponsors, as well as RK. Over the top paints and designs, look your best on track. Look over the top. Billy Wise and the Wise Guys. Don't listen to dumb music, Ron. Listen to the Wise Guys. Of course, our friends at Fastline Motorsports, Fastline Racing, rather, Hold My Beer Racing. Of course, you awesome people at Loose Lug Nuts Racing put on this event. It was a great night, Ron, and a huge thank you for letting me hang out in the broadcast booth. It's been a while, and definitely glad to partake in the experience.
Copy that. I enjoyed having you up here, and hopefully next time we do this, we won't have the issues that we had tonight. Hope all the fans enjoyed it. Sorry for the issues. There was a multitude of issues tonight, but we had a good race. That's all that matters. So until next week, we'll see you on the track.
Yes, as I say, we'll see you at the iRaces.